Are you running profitable jobs but that cash just doesn't seem to be showing up in the bank account? Well, that's what we're here to talk about today. I'm Josh. I work with small businesses, helping them improve their cash flow, and we're going to walk through cash flow for contractors. During this episode, we're going to go through a few cash flow scenarios. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Basically, in each one, we're going to change one variable that you can change with your cash flow, helping to improve it, speed it up, and make sure that money from a job turns into money in the bank. So starting out here, this is going to be scenario 1, and it is essentially going to be our base scenario. And I'm going to walk through the assumptions because these are what we are going to change to show how it affects cash flow. Now in this scenario, we have cash in the bank by month. So this is how many months it takes for the bank to break even, assuming this company was just getting started. In this scenario, we have days to collect money, 30 days. So that's when you invoice a customer, then it takes 30 days for that money to come into the bank on average. It's going to take 30 days to pay bills, and these are specifically going to be bills to your suppliers. And then monthly revenue, 100,000. So over the course of the year, the business would do 1.2 million. We have this monthly revenue growth percentage. So right now, assuming 0, just assuming $100,000 per month coming in the bank. And then gross margin, 80%. So that is going to be, you have 100,000 of revenue, and then you have 20,000 of costs going to suppliers, making it so that 80% is left over. Labor efficiency ratio, not going to touch too much on this, but this is just to say that labor is efficient in this company. There's overhead of 25%, and then there's profit of 15%. So overhead is costing about $25,000 every month, and profit is going to be $15,000 per month. Now, the couple things to keep in mind: days to pay bills, that's bills to suppliers. It's not going to include overhead. It's not going to include wages, as you have to pay those bills every month. So in this situation, assuming that it takes 30 days to collect the money, 30 days to pay bills, you can see it's going to take about 5 months for the company to break even. Obviously, this money has to come from somewhere, and it's going to be approximately $60,000 that's going to get financed either from the shareholder, a bank, or something else. Now in scenario 2, we're going to shift out this days to pay bills. Everything else is the same, except for it's going to take 60 days to pay bills instead of 30. And here you can see that shifts it up by over a month. So now we're break even pretty quick, and we still have the same initial cash outlay here of about 60,000. That's pretty quickly comes up to the point where within 4 months we're at break even, and there's a lot less cash that needs to be covered. Because if you look back, it was a lot more straight line. It was taking a long time, over 5 months, but also the whole time we needed more cash. Whereas here, pretty quick comes up, and then break even in month 4. So that's just shifting those bills out a little bit further. Now, if we switch it the other way, so we're paying our bills within 30 days and it's taking 60 days to collect money, and this is a very common situation for contractors, especially moving on to bigger projects, and it's something to be wary of. So here, 60 days to collect money, 30 to pay bills. You can see we start out with that initial negative amount. That's going to be essentially the labor and overhead dollars spent. And then from there, it gets even worse until it bottoms out around $150,000. And that's when you start to collect money. So after 60 days, we start collecting money. And then it's a long, arduous grind all the way up here to where finally within 12 months we're break even. And all we've changed here is saying that it's taking 60 days to collect money and 30 days to pay bills. So this is a situation to be careful of, because this is going to be extremely long grind, and there will be interest needing to be paid, very cash tight, because you can see it's almost instantly gets worse before it starts to get better, and it takes a long time. Now, another scenario that can happen quite often is that you have bad debt. So in this scenario, you can see down here, there's a drop, and that's because 100,000 became uncollectible. So while it started out with kind of that base scenario of going up, all of a sudden lost a bunch of money, unable to collect it, and then it took a long time to recover that because it was even worse than at the start. So rather than the 5 months, we're about 8.5 months to get break even. And that's going to be if you had $100,000 in month 4 where it's like, okay, can't collect it. And that obviously it's also going to affect profitability if you have to write off some bad debt. This is one more comment I'll make about this, is that it's very important that you don't have this bad debt situation happen in very large amounts. So if you have a customer who's really not paying, you may need to cut off service if possible, as well as if you're working on a large project, make sure you're doing progress billing. So you're collecting money throughout the project, and there's no opportunity to all of a sudden have a very significant amount that's outstanding. In this scenario, it's a very rapidly growing business. You can see monthly revenue growth 25%. So we start at 100,000, then the month after 125,000, so on, so forth. You can see that initial amount is paid out, and then what you see is there's no break-even point. It only goes down. And this is very dangerous. If your payment terms are not set up correct and your cash flow is not set up correct, then you run a very real risk of just growing broke, essentially. And that's what's happening in this scenario, where while we're collecting money within 30 days and paying bills within 30 days, we still have to be making the payments for overhead and for labor, because those have to happen even quicker. And this profit is essentially continually getting deferred, reinvested into growing the business. So this company, if they were to not fix their payment terms and they didn't slow down to allow profits to catch up, they would find themselves in a very, very challenging situation, especially challenging if they had some bad debt or another issue happen. So this is going to be a bit of a hair on fire situation. Now, if we had where it takes 0 days to collect money and you pay the bills in 30 days, then here you can see that it only goes up. You're positive right off the bat with all of the money hitting the bank account, and then it just shifts up. And if you were to increase the monthly revenue growth on here, this business would be completely fine because all money is always being captured up front. So the only way you'd lose money is if you're mispricing jobs. A couple helpful tips from these scenarios. Make sure that as much as possible you collect deposits and payment information up front. If you collect deposits, you for sure have the money. Having the payment information up front can allow you to pull payment when needed. Make sure you go through the correct legal processes for that. Make sure you're invoicing on time and that you follow up on those invoices. So don't let them get too old. Otherwise, the likelihood of payment goes down quite a bit. Plus, now you're acting as a bank. You don't even have the money in your account, and you could run into issues with that. You want to maintain your supplier relationships and try and extend terms where possible. Sometimes if you are going through where you have a very large project or a period of high growth, and if you have good supplier relationships, you may be able to explain to the supplier that, hey, I have this big project, or I have this period of growth, and so the money's going to come in, but I just need a bit more time on my terms, and they may be receptive to that, particularly if you know what you're talking about. Number 4, manage under and overbilling on projects. So specifically with a construction project, number 1, you need to be making sure that you are doing progress billing, and then you want to make sure that when you're doing that progress billing, you are accurately at a point where you're incorporating all of the costs of the project, and that you're not just chronically underbilling on the project, because then you'll be forever short of money. Something else is that you can have a service line with a quicker and more consistent cash flow. If you're on a really large project and you don't have much bargaining power, then the general contractor may just tell you like, no, I'm not paying you on those terms. I'm paying you when I get paid. I'm paying you when I feel like it, more or less. And if you still want to be having that project, and you're trying to grow the business and trying to move into some of those bigger projects without the bargaining power, having a service line that generates very consistent cash flow can help a lot with this, because that way you've now insulated the business, you've diversified cash flow. So if it's taking a long time to get cash on the larger project, you can essentially fund the project with your other service line, and just keep a much more consistent cash flow. And then number 6 is just make sure you have sufficient cash reserves. So before you go trying to grow your business or move into a new service or product line, make sure you've looked at what does the cash flow look like, how much funding are you going to need, do you need to get a line of credit in place and to be ready for that, for a large project or for developing a new service line. With these 6 tips, it's going to help you a lot with your cash flow and just having those charts in mind, and think through when you're doing a new project or a new service line, or when you're doing your invoicing, what graph does your cash flow look like the most? And as much as possible, we want to get it to be that last graph where the cash is being collected super quick or upfront, and you can grow your business without needing incredible amounts of financing and putting your business at risk.